everyone, welcome to our channel Knowledge of Friends. Subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon for the latest update. आज हम लोग डेटा वेयर हाउसिंग एंड डेटा माइनिंग की क्लास करने वाले हैं जो कि आपके लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. एंड अगर हम इसकी क्लास की बात करते हैं सो दैट इज़ योर द फर्स्ट क्लास. आज हम फर्स्ट क्लास करने वाले हैं डेटा वेयर हाउसिंग एंड डेटा माइनिंग, जो कि आपके यूनिवर्सिटी एग्जामिनेशन के बिहाफ पे अगर मैं बात करती हूँ तो विच इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड इन द सेम केस as we will, because this is the first class, we'll start with unit 1, and the name of the unit we have is your data warehousing. And in this, first of all, it's a huge request from my side to all the viewers, please go through with the subscribe button and please like, share and subscribe our channel so that many and maximum people can get the information at once, and even though we can also enjoy the video as well. Let's go ahead with starting with data warehousing. Before that, we have to know about data warehouse. It is a collection of data design that to support the management in the that is decision making that process. And the components, if I'm talking about the data warehouse here, in the component cases there are, that is the 5 components here in the data warehouse, that I will just gone through with that, and we'll go ahead with the detail as well in this class as well, so don't worry about that. And the components are that the operational data sources, operational data store or load manager, warehouse manager, query manager. These were the 5 components of data warehouse. And building a data warehouse, that there are the 2 important approaches as well to build a data warehouse. That is, the first is the dimensional modeling technique and the second is a materialized view as well. In the same case, if a mapping data warehouse to the multiprocessors architecture, then in this we describe the fundamental algorithm that used in the parallel database system that are based on the relational data model. And our main focus in the placement of the data, that the multiple disk, that parallel evaluation of the relational operations which have been instrumented in the in success of parallel database as well. So first of all, it's a huge request from my side to all the viewers, please go through with the subscribe button and please like, share and subscribe our channel so that many and maximum people can get the information at once, and even though you can also enjoy the video as well. And thanks to all those subscribers, those who had subscribed our channel. Because of your support we had reached this much, and we had done many more subjects which you had demanded. Let's go ahead to the question first. What they can ask you is, what do you mean by the data warehouse, and discuss its key features with a suitable example. That has been asked of 10 marks. So let's start with the data warehouse. The subject name we have to go on through with that. Data warehouse. In the data warehouse, and then I will discuss as well, that is your key features of data warehouse. In the data warehouse, that is DW, is a database that is maintained separately from the organization operational database for the purpose of decision support, and it is a collections of data designed to support the management in the decision making process. A data warehouse that provides the integrated enterprises wide historical data and focuses on providing the support for the decision makers with respect to the data modeling and analysis. A data warehouse is a collection of data specific to the entire organization, not only a certain group of users. It is not used for the daily operations and transaction processing, but used for making decisions as well. Talking about the key features of data warehouses are that we have here, the first we have here in the first one, that is your the key features of data warehousing. The first we have subject oriented. In subject-oriented, the data warehouse provides a simple and a concise view around a particular subject such as customer, product or a sales. Instead of a general organization ongoing operation, this is done by excluding the data that are not useful with respect to the subject and including all the tasks that needed by the user to understand the subject as well. The second we have here, and in the terms of the subject oriented, as I told you, the data warehouse that provides a simple and a concise view around a particular subject such as the customer, product or a sale, instead of the general organization ongoing operation. This is done by excluding the data that are not useful with respect to the subject and including all the data needed by the user to understand the subject as well. In the same case, the second we have here is your that is integrated. The second feature, the key feature we have is integrated. In the integrated here, a data warehouse integrates various heterogeneous data source like RDBMS, flat files and online transaction record. It requires performing the data cleaning and integration during the data warehousing to ensure consistency in naming conventions, attribute types, etc. among different data sources as well. The third we have is your time variant. In a time variant, that the data warehouse represents the flow of the data through time, as data in the warehouse is only accurate and valid at some point of time or over some time interval. In other words, the data warehouse contains the data that reflects what happened to the previous day, last week and last month and so on. The D we have is your non-volatile. In non-volatile, the data warehouse is a physically separate data storage which is transformed from the source operational RDBMS and the operational data update of the data that do not occur in the data warehouse, that is your update, insert and delete operation, and are not performed. Two data processing operations that are performed: initial loading of the data and read. Therefore, the data warehouse does not require the transaction processing, recovery and concurrency capabilities, which allows the substantial speed up of data retrieval as well. In the same case, if I'm talking about in a detail, now we'll go ahead to discuss the another question they can ask you: describe the components of data warehouse. And as I told you, there are the five components of data warehouse, and let's go ahead to discuss that component as well in a detail. Components of data warehouse, and that is the components of data warehouse if I'm talking about. And the following are the various components of the data warehouse that we have. The first is your operational data source. In the operational data source, the data is supplied from the hierarchical and a network database. The departmental data is held in a proprietary file system, and private data is held that workstations and private servers as well. In the same case, we'll talk about the second one, that is your operational data store here. Operational data store. In operational data store, it is a repository of the current and the integrated operational data used for analysis, and it is structured and supplied with the data in the same way as the data warehouse, but may act as a staging area for the data to be moved into the warehouse. The third we have is your load manager. In a load manager, it performs all the operation associated with the extractions and loading of the data into the warehouse. These operations include the simple transformation of the data to prepare it for an entry into the warehouse as well. The D we have, that is the warehouse manager. In a warehouse manager here, in the terms of it, if I'm talking about the warehouse manager, it performs all the operation related with the management of data in the warehouse. These operations include the analysis of data to ensure the consistency, transformation and a merging of the source data, that the creation of indexes and views are achieving, that is, and backing up of data as well. Let's go ahead with the fifth component of a data warehouse, that is we have is your query manager. That is your fifth one. The query manager here, it performs all the operation associated with the management of user query, and these operations include directing the queries in the appropriate to the appropriate table and scheduling the execution of the queries as well. The detailed, highly analytically summarized data are achieved back data here, backup data as well, that the metadata as well, and the users access tools that can be characterized into the five main group, which is that is data reporting and query tools, application tool, online analytical processing tool, and a data mining tool as well. And the fifth we have is your data flow. The sixth we have, that is your data flow. In a data flow, that these were of five types, that the data flow here, and where we have the first one is your that is inflow. In the inflow, the processes associated with the extraction, cleaning, and loading of the data from the source system into the data warehouse. The second is your that is upflow. In the upflow, that the process associated with adding values to the data in the warehouse through the summarizing, packaging, and distribution of the data as well. The third we have is your that is downflow. In the downflow here, and that we have the process that is associated with archiving and backing up data in the warehouse as well. The fourth we have here, that is outflow. In the outflow, that the process associated with making the data available to the end users. And the sixth we have is your metadata. Fifth we have is your metadata. In a metadata, the processes associated with management of the metadata as well. So here with the same case, there will go ahead with the operational data source 1, data 2, source 2, data source n, that are connected to the load manager, and that is connected to the metadata, and that is slightly summarized data. And then these were connected to one another with the detailed data, and that is the archive or a backup data as well. They are connected towards it. Now we'll go ahead to discuss about these. So the information flow of the data warehouse. Let's go ahead to discuss about the concept of building a data warehouse. Concept of building a data warehouse. In the concept of building a data warehouse here, in this the data warehouse are a computer-based information system that are home for the second-hand data that is derived from the application or the external sources, and it includes the first we have here, includes planning a data warehouse. In planning a data warehouse is similar to a computer application. User must be involved to determine the scope of warehouse and requirements need to be met. And in other cases, it can be obtained from the another sources, that another team of analysts and programmer that create extraction program to collect data from the various databases, files, and legacy system that have been identified, copying certain data to be stagnant area outside of the warehouse. At this point, they ensure that the data has no error, that is cleansing, and then copy it all into the data warehouse as well. In the same case, the second we will go ahead with, in the same planning a data warehouse, we will go ahead with the data acquisition and collection. This, the first part is data acquisition collection, where the data warehouse team must determine what data should go into the warehouse and where the information can be found. Some of the data will be the internal to the organization as well. The second we have here is your metadata. In a metadata is essential to the effective operations of the data warehouse, and it is used in the data acquisition, data transformations, and data access as well. Acquisition metadata maps the translation of information from the operational system that to be analytical system, and this includes an extract history describing the data origin, updates, algorithm used to summarize data, and frequency of the extraction from the operational system. The transformation metadata includes a history of the data transformation, changes in the names and the other physical characteristics as well. Let's go ahead with another one. That what we have is your data marts. In data marts here, it contains a subset of the corporate wide data that is of the value of specific group of user. The scope is confined to a specific selected subjects. That data in a data warehouse that should be reasonable current but not necessarily up to the minute here. And although the development in the data warehouse industry have made a frequent and an incremental data dumps more feasible, data marts are the smaller than the data warehouse and generally contain the information from a single department of a business or organization. The current trend in the data warehouse is to develop a data warehouse with several smaller related data marts for a specific kind of queries and reports as well. The next we have is the fourth one, that is your security. In the term of security here, that the trustworthiness of the data is determined by the trustworthiness of hardware, software and a procedure that created them, and data security is a contingent upon acquisition, transformation and access metadata and systems documentations as well. Now we'll go ahead to detail in this that we have to describe the various physical structures of the data warehouse, where there are some basic structures that are connecting towards it, and we'll go ahead to discuss as well as with the figures as well. So let's go ahead here. Various physical structure of data warehouse. So there are some basic structures of for constructing a data warehouse. The first we have centralized. The second we have is your distributive. The third we have is your that is federated. And of course the fourth we have is your that is tiered. Now we'll go ahead each a diagram here, each of it, and that what we have for the centralized here. This is for the centralized architecture. In the centralized architecture, this is a central data warehouse. And this is client, this is client, as well as this is client, this is source, and this is source. The source is connected to a central data warehouse, and central data warehouse are connected and linked to a client as well. So this is a centralized structure. Let's go ahead with the second structure, that is your distributed. With the same case, this is your logical data warehouse, and that has been connected. This is your logical data marts, these were, and these were marketing, financial, distribution, and in the same case these were the up one is your end users, and this is source, where source is connected to the logical data warehouse, and that are connected to the local data marts and marketing financial distributors, and that are connected to the end user as well. In the same case, that has comes under to known as that is your federated architecture. This is the federated architecture. Now we'll go ahead with another one, and that is your tiered architecture here, and that is we'll go ahead detail. The third architecture we will discuss here, that is your tiered architecture. In tiered architecture, this is physical data warehouse that is connected to and these were connected to one another, and where this is also connected to from source here. So here this is source, this is also source, and that is connected to physical data warehouse, and these were connected to local data marts, and these were your workstations, that is your highly summarized data here. So source were connected to the physical data warehouse, these were connected to the local data marts, and that is connected to the workstation, that is highly summarized data as well. Let's go ahead to discuss about it, and that is to briefly explain important approaches to build the data warehouse. So we'll go ahead here. There are the following are the two different approaches for the relational data warehouse design we have, and that is important important approaches to build data warehouse. In this, that there are the two approaches as I told you, and that is the first is the dimensional modeling technique. Technique here. In the that is your dimensional modeling technique here, and dimensional models represent the data with a cube structures, and making that is making a more compatible logical data representative with OLAP data management. And the objective of the dimensional modelings are as to be follows, that to produce a database structure that is easily for the end users to understand and write queries, and to maximize the efficiency of the query. It achieves these objectives by minimizing the number of the table and relationships between them. The basic concept of the dimensional modeling are that is your facts, dimensions and features. In that we'll discuss about facts. That is, a fact is a collections of related data item that is consisting of measures and context data. It is typically represented business items or a business transaction. The second is your other than facts we have your dimensions. And in the dimensions, what it is a collection of the data that describes the one business dimensions, and the dimensions determine the contextual background for the fact and the other parameters over which the OLAP is performed here. The third one we have is your that is your measures, and in the term of the measures, if I'm talking about, it is a numeric attribute of that fact that representing performance or behaving the business relative to dimensions as well. And that the considering the relation to context, there are the two basics model that are used in the dimensional modeling. The first is your star model, and the second is just snowflake model. The star model is the basic structure for the dimensional models, and it can be one of the large central table, that is your fact table, and the set of the smaller tables dimension that is arranged in the radicals patterns around the central table. And the snowflake model is the result of decomposing one or more of the dimensions as well. So the second is your materialized view. In materialized view here, materialized view, this design addresses the problem that is selecting a set of the views to materialized, that is your database data warehouse, taking into the account. The first is to the space allocated for materialization. The second is the ability of answering a set of queries using the exclusively these views, and the third is to combine query evaluations and view maintenance cost as well. So now we'll go ahead to discuss about what are the different types of database parallelism that we have, and in the same case, in talking about in terms of it, and that what we have here is your the first the parallelism we have to know about it. In parallelism here, and talking about parallelism, so that the parallelism is used to provide the speed up where the queries are executed faster because more resources such as your processors and disk are provided. Parallelism is also used to provide the scale up, and where the increasing workload are handled without the increased response time by an increase in the degree of parallelism. The different architectures for the parallel database systems that are shared memory, shared disk, shared nothing, and hierarchical architecture as well. For that, we have a first one that is your horizontal parallelism. In horizontal parallelism here, it means that the database is partitioned across multiple disks and parallel processing occurs with a specific task, that is your table scan, and that is performed concurrently on a different processor against the different sets of data. The second we have is your vertical parallelism. In vertical parallelism, it occurs among different tasks. All components query operation, that is your scan, join, sort, are executed in parallel in a pipeline fashion. In other words, an output from one task, example scan, becomes an input into another task, and that is an example like join, as soon as the record becomes available as well, where that sort, join, and scan has been recorded, and that is in comes under the RDBMS and parallel serial RDBMS, and of course the parallel RDBMS and the vertical parallelism as well as the horizontal parallelism. These were the cases here that will deal with it. Let's go ahead with the another one, and that is your the intra-query parallelism. Interquery parallelism refers to the execution of a single query in a parallel on a multiple processor and disk. Using the interquery parallelism is important for speeding up and long-running queries. Interquery parallelism does not help in the task since each query is run sequentially, and in the same case, to improve the situation, many DBMS vendors that developed versions of their product that utilize the intra-query parallelism, and this form of parallelism decomposes the serial SQL query into a lower level operation such as scan, join, sort, and aggregation as well. These lower level operations then can be executed concurrently in a parallel. And interquery parallelism, if I'm talking about, in interquery parallelism, the different queries of transaction execute in parallel with one another, and the translation throughput that can be increased by this form of parallelism. and however the response times of the individual transaction that are not faster than they would be if the transactions were run in isolation, and thus the primary use of the inter-query parallelism is to scale up the transaction processing system to support a larger number of the transactions that per second, where the database vendors started to take advantages of parallel hardware architecture by implementing the multi-servers and a multi-threaded system as well. And in the multi-threaded system that is designed to handle a large number of client requests efficiently as well. In the same case, for that that is, this approach naturally results in the interquery and parallelism, and in which the different servers, threads or processes handle the multiple requests at the same time. And for interquery parallelism, that has been successfully implemented and on SMP systems as well, and that is where it increases the throughput and allowed the support of more concurrent user as well. Let's go ahead with the detail, and that what we have to discuss as well, and that is in the terms of talking about write a short note on that we have to write it down upon the shared disk architecture, distributed memory architecture, and a shared nothing architecture as well. So let's go ahead to discuss first shared disk architecture here. Shared disk architecture. In the shared disk architecture, if I'm talking about, and with this that the shared disk architecture implements a concept of a shared ownerships of the entire database between the RDBMS server, and each of which is running on a node of distributed memory system as well. Each RDBMS servers can read, write, update and delete records from the same shared database, and which would require the system to implement a form of distributed log manager, which is DLM here. DLM component that can be found in hardware, the operating systems, and or a separate software layer, all depending on the system vendors as well. On the positive side, the shared disk architecture that can reduce the performance bottlenecks resulting from the data skew and an uneven distributions of the data, and that can significantly increase the system availability. And the shared disk distributive memory that design eliminates and the memory access bottleneck typically of a large SMP systems, and helps reduce DBMS dependencies on the data partitioning as well. Talking about that is a shared disk architecture here, and for that we will be going ahead to discuss, and we will be having an architecture to draw it. In the same case here, so here this is these were connected to local memory. And that is connected to here. So this is a distributed memory shared disk architecture, where the first, that is interconnection network, that is connected to the processor unit. This is processor unit, and processor unit. These all were connected to the local memory, different local memory, local memory, local memory, and that is connected to the global shared disk subsystem. and these were connected to here, that is distributed memory shared disk architecture has been named here. Let's go ahead with the another one, that is the shared memory architecture, that what we have to discuss here. In shared memory architecture, if I'm talking about in a detail here, and that is that the shared memory architecture or shared everything style is the traditional approach of implementing the RDBMS on SMP hardware. It is relatively simple to implement and has been very useful up to the point where it runs in the scalability limitations of the shared everything architecture as well. In the same case, that the key point of this approach is that a single RDBMS server that can potentially utilize all processor accesses, that all memory and access the entire database, thus providing the user for the consistent single system image as well. Where in the same case here, that is in this for the shared memory architecture, this is interconnection network the same, the processors unit we have same, local memory are connected to another, and the global shared memory, this is the disk subsystem. So here in the terms of it, global shared memory is being represented here, and that are connected to one another, otherwise that is all same. And other than that, in the shared memory, the SMP system, the DBMS assumes that the multiple database component executing the SQL statement communicating with each other by exchanging the messages and the data via the shared memory here, and all processor have access to all data which is partitioned across the local disk as well. Now we'll talk about the third one, and that what we have here is your that is your the shared nothing architecture. In shared nothing architecture here, in a shared nothing and distributed memory environment, and the data is partitioned across that all the disk, and the DBMS is partitioned as well and across the multiple core servers, and each of which resides an individual node of the parallel system and has an ownership of its own disk and thus its own database partition as well. A shared nothing RDBMS that parallelizes the execution of SQL query across multiple processing nodes. Each processor has its own memory and disk, and communicates with other processor by exchanging the message and data over the interconnection network as well. Where in the same case, the architecture is optimized specifically for a MPP and a cluster system. The shared nothing architecture offers near layer scalability. Theoretically, the number of the processor node is limited only by the hardware platform limitations and budgetary constraint, and each node itself that can be a powerful SMP system as well. However, the shared nothing's distributed memory architecture is the most different to implement as well, where that are the interconnection network, then we have processors unit, your local memory unit, and then individually they are connected to the local unit, that the global state disk will be not there, and that is connected to one another here as well. So here we will go ahead to discuss about the database versus the data warehouse in a detail. There we have to discuss the database that stores the current data, and data warehouse that stores the historical data. Database system is data is dynamic, and data warehouse houses that data is largely static. In the same case, that the third difference is used for the daily transaction database system and used for the analysis of the data, and database system is application oriented and data warehouse is the subject oriented. We will discuss moreover related to the multidimensional data models, and that is this model is used for the design of the corporate data warehouse and infuse or the data in the form of the data cube, which consists of the large set of facts and the numbers of dimensions. The dimensions are the entities with respect to which an organization keep record, and this model can exist in the following form that we will discuss even though in the detail as well. that is your the starred schemas and the data warehouse that contain the large central tables, that is a fact table, and a set of smaller attendance tables, that is the dimension tables as well. And the second is your snowflake schemas. It is a variant of the star schema, and where there are some dimensions tables are normalized, which further that splits the data into the additional tables as well. And we are in the fact constellation, that sophisticated application may require multiple fact tables to share the dimension tables, and this type of a schema that can be viewed as a collection of star, and hence it is called galaxy schemas or a fact constellation as well. For that, the data cubes, if I'm talking about here, that the data cube is used to view the data, and a data cube also that modeled to a view of multiple dimensions as well. Let's go ahead to discuss about it, and that what we have to discuss here, that the difference between the data warehouse and the operational database. And that has been asked for 5 marks, and discuss the difference between the data warehouse and the database system as well. And we are in the same case, the another one thing, that is your the distinguish between OLTP and OLAP here, so that we'll discuss here in the difference towards it. And for before that, we're going ahead to discuss here. So here we'll discuss about following are the main differences between the OLAP and OLTP. Difference between OLAP and OLTP. In difference between OLAP and OLTP is that the following are the main differences, and the first we have is the user and the system organization. User and system organization. In user and system orientation. In this, that OLTP system, that customers oriented transactions and the query processing are done by clerks, clients and information technology professionals, and OLAP a system is a market oriented, and the data analysis is done by knowledge workers, including the manager, executives and analysts as well. The second we have here is your data contents. In the data contents, that an OLTP system manages the current data that are too detailed and are used for the decision making, and OLAP system manages the large amount of historical data that provides facilities for summarization and aggregation, and stores and manages information at a different level of granularity. These features make the data easier to use in informed decision making as well. The third we have is your that is database design. In database design, an OLTP system usually uses an entity relationship data model and an application-oriented database design. An OLTP system typically uses either a star or a snowflake model and a subject-oriented database design as well. The D we have is your view. In the view here, that an OLTP system that focuses mainly on the current data that within an enterprises or the department, which does not refer to historical data or a data in a different organization. In contrast, an OLAP system that often spans multiple versions of database schemas, and due to the evolutionary process of the organization, OLAP system also deals with the information that originates from the different organization, integrating the information from the many data stores as well, and because of their huge volume, these were stored on a multiple storage media as well. Now we'll talk about the E1 here, that is the access pattern. In the access pattern here, in the access patterns are the access patterns of the OLTP system that consist of mainly of short atomic transactions. Such a system requires concurrency control and recovery mechanism. However, the access to the OLAP systems are mostly read-only operation because these data warehouse stored historical information only. Let's go ahead with the discussion about that is comparing the operational database to the data warehouse, and where we have to discuss with reference to the application. Operational database is your OLTP and data warehouse is OLAP. In the case of use, then operational database, that is a precise query, and for data warehouse, that is ad hoc here. And for the temporal, that is your operational database is snapshot, and with data warehouses your historical. Modification is dynamic in operational database and static in data warehouse. Orientation, operational database, we have an application, and for data where this is used for the business. Data is operational values, integrated, size gigabyte, terabyte, level detailed, summarized, and as often and less often, few seconds, minutes, relational, and star stroke, that is flags here in terms of it. Let's go ahead to discuss about the detail in the various schemes of multidimensional data models, and even though we will discuss about the snowflakes as well. So we will be doing that here only. So here we'll go ahead with the discussion, that is describe the various schemes of multi-dimensional data models, and that has been asked of 10 marks, and we describe the star and snowflakes and a feed constellation schemes and multi-dimensional database as well, that was of 10 marks as well. So we'll go ahead to discuss there various schemas of multi-dimensional data models. In that, the various schemas of multidimensional data models here, and that we have in the terms of it, which has been asked of 10 marks here as well. In the same case, that is very important, and that has been asked 3 times in an examination paper. No, 3 times. It is has been asked 8 times here, and that the question pattern what they can ask you about, like in the form, what they had asked you is in the form of like describe the various schemas of multidimensional data models, and that is the describe the star, snowflake, and a fact constellation schemas all in multidimensional database. The other type they can ask you explain snowflakes schemas with example, and briefly describe multidimensional data model and explain with a diagram the stars, snowflake, and a fact constellation schemes for the multidimensional databases, and also write their advantages and disadvantages. The another type they can ask you about, these all are 5 marks, that is explain the fact constellation with each an example, that is has been also asked here. So talking about the multidimensional here, a multidimensional model view data in the form of the data cube, and a data cube allows data to modeled and view in a multiple dimensions. It is defined by the dimensions in the fact. The dimensions are the perspective or the entities with respect to which an organization keeps record. For example, a shop may create a sales data a warehouse to keep the records to store sales, and with respect to that the dimension time, items, and location. That these dimensions allow the store to keep the track of things. For example, the monthly sale of the item and the location at which the item were sold. Each dimension has a table associated with it and called a dimension table, which describe the dimensions future further. And for example, a dimension table is for the item may contain the attribute, item name, and brand and type as well. A multidimensional data model is typically organized around a central theme. For example, the sales, this theme is represented by the fact table. The facts are numerical measures. The fact table contains the name of the fact or the measures of the related dimensions table as well. Now we'll go ahead with the discussion about star schema. In the case of the star schema here, that the star schema wherein the individual table or the data set that will be denormalized and integrated so as to be present as per the end user requirement. And the star schemas is a modeling paradigm in which the data warehouse contain a large single central fact table and a set of smaller dimensions table as well. One for each dimension. The star schema is a relational schema, where a relational schema whose design represent a multidimensional data model. The star schema is perhaps the simplest data warehouse schemas, and it is also called a star schema because the entity relationship diagram of this schema resembles a star with points radiating from the central table, and the center of the schemas consists of a large fact table and the point of the stars that are dimension table as well. Talking about the advantages here, In the terms of the advantages here, that is the main advantages of the star schemas are that they are easy to understand, easy to define hierarchies, reduce the number of physical joints, require low maintenance and very simple metadata as well. And it will provide a direct and intuitive mapping between the business entities being analyzed by the different users and the schema design as well, even though that provide a highly optimized performances for the typical star queries and are widely supported by a large number of businesses intelligence tools which may analyze the page or even require that the data warehouse schemas contain the dimension table that is for used that the star schemas are used for both simple data marts and are very large data warehouse as well. Example, let us consider the employment data warehouse. We have 3 dimensions table and 1 fact table. The star schemas for the example is has to be shown here. That is, we have a fact table, this is a fact table, this is your this is a key, time key and profession key. In the same valve it is connected to the professions. This is the another table, that is your dimension time table. This is your dimension which is profession table, and even though this is your dimension sex table. So here we'll go ahead with the star schema. This is all representing a star schema. In the same case for the star schema here, that is profession. This is the dimension table which is connected to the fact table, and that is your profession key. This is profession class. This is title, level, discipline. This is key and this is X. This is the dimension table. This is the another, that is respect to the time that is key, year, quarter, month, day. This is a star schema which represents here. Let's go ahead with the further one, and that we will discuss about the snowflakes. And in the snowflakes here, that the snowflakes will go ahead to discuss. In the snowflake, this is connected to one another. In the snowflakes, the snowflake schema is similar to the star schema, and a schema is called a snowflake if one or more dimensions table do not join directly to the fact table, but must join through the other dimensions table as well. The snowflake schema is an extension of the star schema where each point of the star explodes into more points, and the main advantages of the snowflake schema is the improvement in query performances due to minimize the disk storage requirements and joining smaller lookup tables as well. The main disadvantages of the snowflake schema is the additional maintenance effort needed due to the increased number of lookup tables, and it is also known as multi-fact star schema as well. In the decision table, that will take about items, a fact table, dimension with respect to the timetable, city, and then of course the locations and the suppliers that are connected to one another here. That comes under the snowflake schema. Talking about the another one that we have here is that is fact constellation. And the fact constellations here, that a fact constellation is a kind of schema where we have more than one fact table sharing among the some dimensions table, and it is called a galaxy schema. For example, let us assume that the Deccan Electronic would like to have another fact table for supply and delivery. It may contain the 5 dimensions or keys, that is time, item, delivery, agent, origin, destination, along with the numeric measures as their numbers of units supplied and the cost of the delivery as well. It can be seen that the both fact tables can share the same item dimensions table as well as the time dimensional table as well. So where the constellation, we have fact 1, fact 2, that is the table, and dimension 1, dimension 2, dimension 3 that we have here, and that has been represented in this. That is comes under in it. This is fact 1, fact 2, this is fact constellation. It's connected to this fact table, even though this fact table as well, which is connected to this fact table, and even though this fact table, it is connected to this table, and this is connected to this table as well. Okay, so here this is the fact table. In one fact table that we have is your dimension 1, that is key, dimension 2, that is also a key, and dimension 3 also a key, and this is a summary as well. Here that is dimension 2, dimension 3, dimension 4, and summary. This is your dimension 1, that is your that is schema. This is dimension 2, schema, dimension 3, schema, and dimension 4, schema. This is a fact constellation. Now we'll go ahead to discuss about that. The question has been asked of 10 marks. Define the data warehousing with suitable example. Why we need separate data warehouse, different between OLAP and OTP, and what are the data warehouse, why data warehouse is maintained separately from database, and differentiate between OLAP and OLTP here. So let's go ahead with the discussion. And as you know that we had discussed about the data warehouse and need to separate data warehouses. Need to separate data warehouse. In this, that the data warehouse queries are complex because they involve the computations of a large groups of data that are at summarized level, and it may be require the use of the spatial data organization as an implementation method that is based on the multidimensional view. Performing OLAP queries in operational database degrades the performance of operational tasks. Data warehouse is used for analysis and decision making, in which the large database is required, and including the historical data which operational data does not typically maintain. And the separation of the operational database from data warehouse is based on the different structures and uses of the data in these systems as well, because the two systems that provide the different functionalities and require the different kinds of data, it is necessary to maintain the separate database as well, different between OLAP and OLTP that we had even though discussed here. Let's go ahead with another one, and that we'll have to discuss multidimensional, that is your data model, and which we'll discuss in the next coming class, that is your class 2, because this is your first class of data warehouse. And first of all, it's a huge request from my side to all the viewers, please go through with the subscribe button, and please like, share and subscribe our channel. and please go through with the all thanks to all the viewers, please thanks to all the subscriber as well, and for supporting us, that you had support till now. And in the data warehouse there are 5 unit that has been concluding, and unit 1, that is the data warehousing, and the code of the data warehousing and data mining is NCS, that is 066. And for the data unit 1, data warehousing, which we have to cover up the topics, that is your overview, definition, data warehousing components, building data warehouse and warehouse database, mapping the data warehouses to a multiprocessor architecture, differences between the database system and the data warehouses, multidimensional database system and the data warehouses as well, the multidimensional data models and the data cubes, stars, snowflakes, fact constellation concept, hierarchy, process architecture, three-tier architecture, and data mining as well. In the same case, if I'm talking about the another unit, that is your data warehouse process and technology, where we have to cover up the warehousing strategies, warehouse management and support processes, warehouse planning and implementation, hardware and operating systems for the data warehousing, client server computing model, and data warehousing, parallel processors and cluster system, distributed DBMS implementation, warehousing software, warehouse schemas design, data extraction, cleanup and transformation tool, warehouse to metadata as well. Unit 3rd, we have to cover up the data mining and reduction, overview, motivation, definition and functionalities, data processing, form of data pre-processing, data cleaning, missing values, noisy data, binding, clustering, regression, computer and human inspection, inconsistent data, data integration and transformation, data reduction, data cube aggregation, dimensionally reduction, data compression, numericity reduction, discretizations and concept hierarchy generation and decision tree as well. In unit 4, we have to discuss the classification and clustering, that is classification, definition, data generalization, analytical characterization, analysis of the attribute relevance, mining class algorithm, distance based algorithm, decision tree based algorithm, clustering, introduction, similarities and distance measured, hierarchical and partitioned algorithm, hierarchical clustering, Cure and chameleon, density based method, that is DB scan, optics, grid based method, that is spring click, model based method, that is your statistical approach, association rules, induction, large item sets, basic algorithm, parallel and distributed algorithm, neural network approach. In unit 5th, that is a data visualization, where we have to cover up the aggregation, historical information, query, facility, OLAP function and tools, OLAP server, ROLAP, MOLAP, OLAP, and that is the data mining, interfaces, security, backup and recovery, turning turning data warehouse, testing data warehouse, warehousing applications and recent trends, types of warehouse application, web mining, spatial mining and temporal mining as well. After that, we'll discuss the short answer question, which is very important in respect to the competition wise as well, and as well as for your knowledge, and as well as for your syllabus as well. So first of all, it's a huge request from my side to all the viewers, please go through with the subscribe button and please like, share and subscribe our channel. And thanks to all those subscribers, those who had subscribed our channel, thanks for supporting us. And even though for your support, that you had that your trust has been given to us, that is we had started many subjects simultaneously, दैट इज़ कंप्यूटर ग्राफिक्स की भी क्लास हो रही है, उसके साथ साथ डेटा वेयर हाउस भी, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस भी, एंड उसके साथ साथ आपका दैट इज़ प्रिंसिपल ऑफ प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेजेस, उसके साथ साथ रीजनिंग, ये सारी क्लासेस एक साथ पैरेलल चल रही है आपकी. सो यू कैन गो थ्रू विद दैट एंड यू कैन गो थ्रू विद द प्ले लिस्ट एंड यू विल फाइंड ऑल द वीडियोज़ रिलेटेड टू ईच एंड एवरी सब्जेक्ट दैट वी हैड completed even though. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and give a suggestion on the comment box. Thank you.